A lot of people are moving to Palm Bay for what it is today, but the people making the smartest decisions are buying for what it's about to become. What's important to understand right from the start is that this isn't just a story about what Palm Bay will look like someday. This is about decisions people are making right now: where to buy, where to rent, where to put down roots, and how those choices will feel once the growth that's already underway fully takes shape. These are not peace and quiet forever areas. They are up and coming, high energy growth zones where exciting things are happening: new homes, new retail, new jobs and infrastructure. For some buyers, that's exactly the appeal. For others, committing to living here is important to understand clearly what you may be living amongst once you're here for a while. Either way, knowing what's coming will matter, even if you plan to move here in the near future. For a long time, Palm Bay has been known as the place where people slept. You lived here for space, affordability, and a quieter pace of life. You drove elsewhere for shopping and dining, healthcare, and lifestyle. That identity is changing though, not overnight, but very intentionally through some of the largest and most ambitious developments this area has ever approved. Homes are already being built and sold, but the lifestyle around them is still unfolding. Buyers who understand that timeline are in a powerful position because Palm Bay offers something becoming increasingly rare in Florida: the ability to buy early into areas that are planned to look very different 10 or even 20 years from now. So let's lay out and break down where the real developments will be coming to our area so you can consider this and determine whether these are areas you want to live in the near future. As you take a look at this map, you'll see that I-95 runs north and south right through Palm Bay, which makes it incredibly convenient to get anywhere in the state and, of course, through the rest of the U.S. St. John's Heritage Parkway has become one of the most important growth spines connecting neighborhoods, retail, and employment centers. Micco Road anchors much of the southern expansion, while Malabar Road and Emerson Drive shape growth in the northwest. Two landmarks people already recognize are the Publix Plaza at Cypress West in southeast Palm Bay and the Publix Plaza at Heritage Square in northwest Palm Bay. Much of Palm Bay's growth radiates outwards from these 2 points. So let's start in southeast Palm Bay because this is where the scale and timeline of development truly change how the city is going to function. Just south of Micco Road, near the Cypress West Publix Plaza, is Ashton Park, being created by Dick's Developments. This is not a subdivision, and it's not meant to be built quickly. Ashton Park is a long-range, mixed-use vision with a timeline that stretches well over a decade, potentially closer to 20 years. When fully realized, it's planned to include thousands of homes, townhomes, apartments, offices, retail, hotels, and supporting infrastructure, all organized around a true town center environment, which is lacking in Palm Bay at this point in time. Early residents here will experience new homes surrounded by active construction and open land. Over time, that experience is designed to shift dramatically as shopping, dining, services, and even employment opportunities are built into the community itself. Ashton Park represents Palm Bay's transition from a bedroom community into a place where daily life will happen locally. Just north and east of Ashton Park will be Sunterra Lakes, another long-term project currently in site work and early development. Sunterra Lakes is planned around a large centralized lake that becomes the visual and lifestyle heart of the community. Think trails, green space, water views, and a strong emphasis on outdoor living. Clearly a different vibe than what is intended for Ashton Park. This is a community that will appeal to buyers who want a neighborhood that feels intentional and lifestyle-oriented from day one, even as it builds out over many years. Thousands of homes are planned here, along with neighborhood retail and supporting infrastructure, with homes arriving first and amenities and services following as the population grows. Moving west along the St. John's Heritage Parkway, framing I-95 will find Emerald Lakes. This is one of the most influential projects shaping Palm Bay's future and one of the longest in scope, with an anticipated build-out of roughly 20 years. Emerald Lakes is planned as a multi-builder resort-style master plan community. Lennar has confirmed it will be a major builder here and plans to develop 3 distinct neighborhoods, similar in concept to the Everlands that we'll talk about in a few minutes in Northwest Palm Bay. Lennar is planning to open a sales center in the first quarter of this year, signaling that this project is entering a very visible phase. If this is something you want to be a part of, you can buy right now. Emerald Lakes is designed for people who want lifestyle built into where they live, not just added later. Signature amenities, gathering spaces, and a strong sense of place are central to this vision. Over time, this area alone will support several thousand homes and a significant resident population. Also in Southeast Palm Bay will be Lotus Palm Bay, a 353-acre mixed-use project near Micco Road, east of I-95. The current plan includes well over 1,300 homes across detached, attached, and multifamily options, more than 80 acres of green space and trails, neighborhoods, commercial space, and a daycare facility. Lotus has received increased City Council scrutiny relating to roads, schools, and infrastructure capacity, which is important context for bikers. This doesn't mean that the project is going away. It means that it's being refined. Large, long-term developments often evolve as cities ensure that growth happens responsibly and that the process is part of all of Palm Bay maturing as a still in Southeast Palm Bay, Cypress Bay West, built by D.R. Horton, is already active and growing. This is a resort-style, amenity-driven community with pools, recreation areas, and HOA-managed living. It appeals strongly to first-time buyers, relocation buyers, and anyone looking for a real turnkey type of lifestyle. Right next door and adjacent to this is the Gardens at Waterstone. This community was originally planned as a multi-builder development, and today KB Homes is building the final large remaining section. For many buyers, this creates a very appealing opportunity. You'll be close to future action with the retail, lifestyle, and growth, but you're not signing up to live under heavy construction for the next decade. It's a way to be adjacent to long-term growth while still enjoying a more complete neighborhood sooner. Taken together, these Southeast Palm Bay developments account for nearly 14,000 planned residential units, and that growth will unfold over the next many years, not all at once. This creates opportunity, but it also creates change. For buyers, this isn't just about what a neighborhood looks like today. It's about understanding the timelines, because buying now will mean something very different than buying 10 years from now, even within the same general area. If you're an investor or someone who wants to get in on the ground floor, now may be the right time to look. If you much prefer coming in after it's already developed, well, maybe 5 or 10 years from now would be more in your liking. One of the most important long-term changes that will happen to all of this is the tying together of the St. John's Heritage Parkways, connecting the roadways on the southeast and northwest with the same name. The city's long-term transportation vision includes extending and strengthening this corridor so that all parts of Palm Bay become far more directly connected than they are today. Even the idea of that connection, once it's eventually realized, will completely change traffic flow, commuter patterns, and where people will choose to live, shop, and invest in this area. This single roadway that's become Palm Bay's backbone of future growth, and it's the reason that development in the southeast and northwest parts of the city is no longer happening in isolation. It's happening as part of one large, coordinated shift. And it's great planning on the city's part. So now let's move north, where growth is already intersecting with established infrastructure and daily life. In Northwest Palm Bay, near the Publix Plaza at Heritage Square, development feels different here because so much is already in place. Retail, restaurants, and schools are already here now. Heritage High School sits right next to this corridor, reinforcing how integrated this area already is. Space Coast Town Center, rising nearby, is expected to transform how this part of Palm Bay lives, much like the Avenues did for Viera. It's designed to bring shopping, dining, entertainment, hotels, and gathering spaces into a centralized, walkable environment. Instead of leaving Palm Bay for experiences, residents will increasingly have them close to home. That's why nearby communities matter so much. So let's talk about these upcoming communities. Tillman Lakes, already developed by Lennar Builders, is entering a new phase with a large expansion that will nearly double the neighborhood and include resort-style amenities being added. This is not a wait-and-see neighborhood. It's already an opportunity to live in a growing community that feels connected and increasingly vibrant. Just north of Malabar Road on the far west side is Malabar Springs, a multi-builder development. Ryan Homes is currently building here with plans for Meritage Homes and Miranda Homes to join the building in this community as it continues developing. Malabar Springs offers homes with quick access to Malabar Road, I-95, and surrounding services. It appeals to buyers who want new construction without waiting years for infrastructure to catch up. Right in the heart of everything that is happening along St. John's Heritage Parkway are the Everlands communities, and these are the perfect example of how Palm Bay is already living its future. Today, you already have Timbers at Everlands and Riverwoods at Everlands, both actively building and selling, and both are designed around a lifestyle-first approach. These are not isolated neighborhoods. They are being intentionally placed near retail, schools, and major roadways, which means daily life here already feels connected. What makes the Everlands especially important to understand is that this is not finished. West of St. John's Heritage Parkway are plans for 3 additional Everlands communities that will follow, expanding the footprint and continuing the same master plan vision. Over time, this area alone will support approximately 4,000 homes when all phases are complete. For buyers, the Everlands offers something very appealing. You're not buying into a concept that's still on paper. You're buying into communities that are already functioning, with amenities in place and more coming, while still benefiting from future phases that will bring even more energy, services, and values in the surrounding area. This corridor, anchored by the Everlands and reinforced by Space Coast Town Center, is becoming one of the most complete live, work, lifestyle zones in all of Palm Bay. And it's happening right now, not 10 years from now. What's happening along the St. John's Heritage Parkway corridor alone will reshape Palm Bay for decades. And this is where the full scale of the transformation really comes into focus, and there's still more to come. Just north and west of the Everlands sits the Palm Vista planning area, a massive stretch of land that is being positioned for future long-term residential and commercial growth. Within that same zone, just beyond the current Everlands footprint, is a large tract known as the Platte Ranch, which has already received approvals for thousands of future homes, major commercial space, and even additional school capacity. Layer on top of that development momentum around the Space Coast Town Center, plus nearby communities like Sunrise Estates by Pulte, and suddenly you're no longer looking at isolated neighborhoods. You're looking at an entire regional growth engine taking shape. When you connect those dots, this single corridor represents well over 10,000 new homes, either approved, under construction, or planned, along with massive retail, commercial, and employment expansion. And don't forget that on the north end of St. John's and West Melbourne, Amazon is already in the works to build a massive distribution center that will provide more job opportunities in your own backyard if you live in this area. Because of how significant this corridor is, I'm also working on a dedicated deep dive video focused just on this area, breaking down each project, the timelines, and what this will all mean for buyers who are trying to decide where in Palm Bay and what builder makes the most sense for their future. Changing gears just a bit, let's look at what else is coming to Palm Bay outside of these 2 huge areas. In Northeast Palm Bay, Country Club Estates represents a different kind of opportunity. This area is largely established, and new development here focuses on larger lots and move-up housing. Risewell Builders and Stanley Martin Homes are adding homes that appeal to buyers relocating from higher cost markets who want space, flexibility, and a more traditional suburban feel without giving up access to amenities. And of course, we cannot forget that threaded through all of this are Palm Bay's independent builders, scattered lots, and non-HOA neighborhoods. This remains a defining part of this city's character and continues to attract buyers who want more flexibility, whether it's space for a boat, an RV, or simply fewer restrictions, even as these master plan communities expand around them. All of this growth is supported by a strong regional economy. Aerospace, technology, healthcare, logistics, and hospitality jobs will continue to expand across the Space Coast. Port Canaveral, now the busiest cruise port in the world, is driving additional employment, hotels, and infrastructure investment throughout Brevard County, reinforcing the long-term housing demand. It's no coincidence that Palm Bay and Melbourne were both recently recognized by U.S. News and World Report as among the top places to live in the entire state of Florida. That recognition reflects affordability, opportunity, and quality of life, and it's happening at the same moment that Palm Bay is expanding what daily life looks like for its residents. Palm Bay in 2026 isn't just about more homes. It's about how people will live in the future here. More places to shop, dine, work, learn, and gather. More choices in housing, more reasons to stay local instead of having to go elsewhere. Homes are available now in many of these communities. Getting here early can be a very smart move as long as you understand what an area is becoming, not just what it looks like today. That's the perspective that I will bring when I help buyers relocate here. I focus on helping people understand not just the house they're buying, but the future of the area around the house, so that they can feel confident not just only in what they're buying, but for years after they move in. I'm Lee Johnson with Brownfield Real Estate Group, and I specialize in helping people relocate to Florida's Space Coast. If you're considering a move and you want help understanding which part of Palm Bay or which builder you want to use, or even in the surrounding areas, let me help you find what truly fits your lifestyle and timeline, and I would love to be that resource for you. Give me a call soon.